Okay, I don't know about you, but I have lived a very frustrating life. Like the first 20 years of my life, I rarely spoke. In fact, I was known as the girl who spoke with her eyebrows because I hardly said anything to anybody. In fact, I had to go to speech therapy and, I just couldn't formulate my thoughts at all. So then the next 20 years, I started to see what was wrong with the world. Everywhere I looked, I started to see, oh my God, that's wrong. Oh my God, do people know about this or that, or do they know? And so I would speak in a way that actually repelled the very people I was trying to connect to. And that too was very frustrating. So now, the last almost 20 years, I've been trying to speak in a way and learn everything I can because I want to get out of that prison of not being able to express myself and speaking in a way that really doesn't move us all forward to a more enlightened planet that I would like to live on. I'm sure you do too. So let me tell you what I did. I spent thousands. You don't even want to know how much money I spent on personal development. It was a lot and I loved it all. It all helped me a lot. The next thing was I would train and learn. Every time I was out there training, I learned something new. Communication skills all over the world. I was in Australia, I was all over Canada, all over the United States, speaking all the time and hearing other people and how frustrated they were on how they couldn't communicate and connect with other people. And then I've done a lot of improv in the last few years too, which has helped me because improv is all about being in the moment, being present, being connected with who you're speaking to, and speaking truthfully, saying exactly what's on your mind, and then also accepting what people say. So you're not debating people, you're adding on to it. So you're accepting what they say, and then you add something to move the whole scene forward, which is fabulous. And it works really great. People have a good time and things shift. I've heard that if you want to get nothing done, convince people they are on one side or the other. Which, isn't that true? I mean, if we're talking like this, it's hard to actually move forward. And the people and the powers that be would love to see us all just fighting with each other instead of connecting, sharing ideas, and moving forward. So let's get into some of these tips. First of all, if you're having a conversation with somebody, you want to use the improvisational skills, which I just talked about. So think about the last conversation you had that went really well. Okay, if you need to pause, go ahead and pause it. And you were probably doing those things. You were probably really connected in the moment. You were probably speaking your truth. You felt free enough to speak your truth and things moved forward and you felt connected with that person. And if you compare that to a time where things really didn't go very well, chances are you weren't using the improvisational skills. So maybe you were thinking about something in the past or the future, you're worried about what's going to happen, or you're thinking about, well, this happened last time, so we weren't really present in the moment, okay? And then connected with the person. Sometimes, for whatever reason, maybe we have a preconceived idea about that person, or we're feeling some animosity where we don't really want to connect with that person, but something or another made us not want to connect and really be with that person. And then another thing that comes up is that, well, maybe we don't really speak our truth. Maybe we're saying what we think they want to hear, a very codependent thing. But we're saying what we think they want to hear, or we're not really speaking our truth, what's really, really honest for us, Or if we get into debate where it's like, no, let me tell you why you're wrong and I'm right, this is a disease on the planet. Most of us want to be right. Rather than actually making a change in the world, we want to be right. So if you pause this for a minute, you think back on the last day or two or week, what were some of those conversations that really went well, and what were some conversations where it didn't go well? And for me, when I think about it, it's just like I'm at a point in my life where I'd rather feel good than be right. Yes, I want to move things forward. Yes, I want to make a difference in the world. Yes, I want to be true to myself and express who I really am. And all of those things are important to me. When I get stuck in the paradigm of wanting to be right, None of those things happen for me. It's just the ego is such a powerful thing wanting to be right. So I don't know about you, but it's just too much stress for me. You know, it's like I don't want any more stress in my life, so I'm going to let that go. Now, another thing to keep in mind, what I've learned from Albert Moravian, who says when we are speaking about something very emotionally charged, that our words don't actually make much of a difference. In fact, the words themselves are only 7% when it's emotionally charged. Our body language is 55%. So this is an open body language. This says something else, right? That's 55%. And that's what people get from us when we're speaking in a certain way. So they're looking at our body language. You do it. I do it all the time. And then the tone of voice. If people are saying like, you know, what's wrong with you? That means a whole different thing than, hey, what's wrong with you? What's wrong? You know, one thing is true. The other one is the tone of voice is actually trying to make us wrong. You can feel it, right? I mean, it's so clear to see that. So people will pay attention to our tone of voice. And what I try to do is take a deep breath before I go into a tough conversation. Because if we're thinking and we're in a react mode, our tone of voice is going to be something that people just don't want to listen to. So pay attention to your own body language, tone of voice, and the words, and then pay attention to other people's body language, tone of voice, and the words they speak. And you'll be able to tell if they really truly do want to connect with you or if they're just trying to be right. Okay. And then, let's see, another thing to keep in mind is connecting with people and really making the time we have with people very worthwhile. So if you have a situation that you're trying to express, let's just talk about GMOs for right now, genetically modified organisms, and somebody comes to you and they go, hey, you know, GMOs are going to save the world, and you know that, you know, like 40% of corn is actually sold for ethanol. It's not even feeding the world, it's feeding the cars, right? So you know all of these things and you want to just pounce on them. I know I have, right? But rather than do that, you know, just try to state the facts in the beginning. For example, you know the Michael Taylor guy, he's with Monsanto and he's with the FDA. So if you expose the facts of what's really going on, that's just one example of many, let them know and then share the health risks, what you know, and then focus on what is really true for you. You know, like for me, I know that, you know, since GMOs have been introduced in 1996, the cancer rates have gone way up. You know, leaky gut syndrome, all of those things gone way up. You know, autism, way up. So there is a direct correlation with when they came out and the health problems we're having now. So say something that you really resonate, talk about the health risks, and then get some third-party support. So it isn't just you saying, hey, I think this way. No, you say, did you know thousands of doctors feel the same way? Thousands of doctors are recommending that their patients get off all genetically modified food and they eat only organic food. So you're getting some more support with you rather than just you saying what you think. You're going, hey, check it out. Look what all these other thousands of doctors are saying about it. And then you want to really talk about the scope of the problem. Like for genetically modified foods, the scope of the problem is like once they're introduced, the wind carries them, the insects carry them, so you can't contain it. Really, once they're introduced, you cannot contain it. It's all over the place, and that is a huge problem. Like if I was talking about my communication skills, which this is about right now, it's like, what is the scope of the problem? I mean, the scope of the problem isn't just me being able to speak my truth in this moment. It's me, when I'm laying on my deathbed, going, dang, I wish I would have said this. Or man, I wish I would have been able to connect with people. I mean, the scope of the problem is me going through life feeling like a free and expansive being versus me going through life worried about what everybody's going to say, me knowing something that's going on, but holding back because I don't want to offend anybody. And then it's just like the scope of the problem is huge. Not being able to communicate is a ginormous problem. I know it is for me, and most of the people I've worked with over the years in all these different countries have said the same thing to me. So maybe you're one of the few people who it isn't a problem for, but most people say it's really affecting their life, their stress level, their ability to connect and really love other people, to be able to speak their truth. It's huge. So that's the scope of the problem. Okay, and then the last thing is, what's your call to action? So you've just said all of this stuff. What is your call to action? What do you want people to do because of just hearing what you had to say? So think about that. Call to action is, I would invite you right now to post some of your comments below on this YouTube video. It's like, what are some of your challenges? What have you done? What can you share with the world that's really helped you? That could be one call to action. It's a real simple thing, but you don't want to leave people just with, well, there you go. See you later. You want to keep the connection going. So I encourage you, write a comment below or subscribe to this channel or whatever feels right to you, but take some kind of action. Maybe the next time you're in line at the cash register or something like that, you take little baby steps, right? And you actually strike up a conversation and you comment on something that you can to connect with that other person, to maybe make their day. Maybe you make your day a little bit better, but you communicate honestly from your heart and you express it more freely. So that's it for now. I hope you got some tips out of this, and thank you for listening. Thank you for participating in what you're doing out there in the world. Thank you, and be well. See you later.